I'm now logged on to Strava. Now, Strava is a web-based tool that you can use for tracking running, cycling, different activities. There are others as well, quite a few. Idea is they're very useful for training or just keeping an eye on what you're doing and even following friends who may be fellow cyclists, etc. But there are some things with Strava from a security point of view that you need to be aware of. There is certainly evidence out there which suggests that Strava and other tools like this are being used by criminals to find out where people are keeping their expensive bicycles, for example. So just to show you first how it can be used to track down cyclists. There's a few ways you can do it, but just to show you one way here. There's a search facility, and if you change it to clubs and pick an area, for example, Dublin, it shows us all the cycling clubs in Dublin. There's loads of them, so I have lots of data here to browse through. I'll just pick one of the first ones here. And once we do that, it now drills down and shows us members or people who are associated with this club. Now it says that it's based in Sandymount, and more than likely a lot of these people here live near Sandymount in Dublin. Next thing we can do is pick an individual. Now I don't know any of these, just random people here, and let's pick someone. When we drill down, we can then see some interesting things. The most interesting is from locating stuff is that it shows maps. Now, the thing, I'm not going to drill down here and reveal anything about this individual, but I do want to point out that typically with Strava, a lot of people will begin their trip or their cycle at their home and come back to the same location. So for a lot of these maps, the start point it can be that person's home. Now, if I zoom in here, I can right down to a door. It's very accurate. It uses Google Maps. So certainly from looking at the two maps here, they both seem to start and end in the same place. So potentially that's where these people live. So this is an issue. I can, simple searches, I can find cyclists and then I can look at maps and I can see where they're starting their cycles from. The other issue in Strava is, now we can see it here, is people post photos. And I can pick on somebody else. Pick the second one on the list. And as you can see, people post photos. Now I'm not going to open these up. They are public. I mean, maybe you shouldn't be there, but obviously they want to share them for some reason. But in a lot of photos, people will show their bikes. They'll have a picture of themselves holding the bike. So you get a good idea, it's not a €100 bike, it's a €5,000, €10,000 bike. And we also then have maps and showing locations. And as we can see, very easy to put some information together here about people, what type of bikes they have, and where they're hanging out. Now, on a more positive note, there are things you could do in Strava to make your profile more secure. Now, the best way to change the settings is to go to your PC or laptop and log on to Strava that way. There is a Strava app for Android and I'm sure other platforms. I just find it a lot more difficult to tweak settings on the app on a phone. Best thing is to log on using a browser. I just find there's a lot more control there. Once you're logged on, go to the right hand side and go to My Profile. Once you get there, you click here and you go to Settings. Once you go into Settings, go to Privacy. Now the first one here is the Enhanced Privacy mode. Now, as far as I know, it's not on by default, and I would seriously recommend that you switch on Enhanced Privacy mode. Because just look at the differences. Anyone can view your name, people can follow you, anyone can see your photos. I mean, your data is wide open there. If you enable it, your name is anonymized. Only athletes that you approve can follow you, so people just can't go in and look at your profile. And only people you approve can see your photo. So definitely, I'm sure they're going to make this default, but I would recommend you change your privacy mode to the enhanced version. The second thing I would recommend you do, now I've just put in a random address here, but you need to add a hidden location. Now, what a hidden location is typically, and it explains it here, is typically it's your home. The idea is that even if you go out and you do a cycle and you come back, the map shown on the screen won't display the last approximately 500 meters, 1 kilometer radius. So basically, still people have an idea where you may live. In a city, it's chance that you won't be found. In the country, if you're living in the middle of nowhere and you're the only house, well, then obviously it's still easy to track you. But for most people, adding a hidden location is a good idea because people, if somebody comes in here somehow and looks at your data, they just don't know exactly where you live. And to do it, you just basically put in an address, type in an address, and create a privacy zone around that. Just your specific address, like your house number, street, type it in there, and you can create a privacy zone. Again, I would certainly recommend that. There's only one small, tiny issue with creating a privacy zone, in that if you're into segments on Strava, setting fast times, and there's a segment right outside your house, you'll never register a time for that because your routes are hidden. People, can't see the fact that you used or you passed through that. But that's a tiny. I mean, who cares if you can't get the top time on a particular segment? So, would recommend number one. I mean, if you're not having privacy mode on, do it today, and then consider switching on creating a privacy zone. Doing both of those things mean random people, when they're searching, they're not going to see photos, they're not going to be able to go in and see your profile, and if somebody somehow comes across a route that you've been on, they can't see exactly where you live. So that will make your account more secure, but like anything, just be cautious. I mean, avoid maybe starting cycles from outside your house. Maybe just go a couple hundred meters away, and just be careful about the type of information that you're sharing on these activity tracking websites.